we look at God as this big thing that's separate than us. We minimize God and we humanize God. Learning to hear God and recognize when God is speaking to us is learning to listen to ourselves. Hey family, welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to talk about something real quick. I wanted to talk about how you hear or how you learn to hear the voice of God, or how you even begin to recognize the voice of God, right? So after my last video, I noticed that a few people commented and a few people messaged me, and they mentioned, as a result of watching my video, they noticed that a few things going on in their lives and a few signs that they saw, and they were like, well, maybe that was God. And I realized that most of us miss the message, or we miss it when God is speaking to us, just because we get so caught up in life, right, that we get spiritually disconnected. And because we're so spiritually disconnected, and we look at God as this big thing that's separate than us, right? So first you have to recognize or acknowledge what is God, right? God is our creator. God is the creator of everything, right? The creator of the sun, the moon, the stars, the ocean, the trees, the animals, all the other plants, us, right? So we are no different than the ocean, than the stars and the moon and the plants, right? We're in a different form. And God has manifested in all of these different ways. So we are all God's creations equally. We are no different, right? We're just having a different spiritual experience. We're experiencing life through the human form. And I think, if you think about it in terms of children, right? Like when you have children, your children are part of you. They share your DNA, they share your characteristics, they share some of your gifts, they share certain, sometimes habits, or even trauma, you know what I mean? But our children share things that are a part of us. So essentially, they are a part of us, right? Being a part of us, they are us, right? In a different form, in a different way. And so if we stop looking at God as this separate thing, and as this, obviously, God, the creator, is so much bigger. We minimize God and we humanize God. Most people refer to God as He, or most people refer to God as they envision God as this form of a man, but it's the creator of everything, the creator of everything, that ocean and them stars. I think that it's an insult, and this is my opinion, to minimize or humanize God as the creator. I believe that God is so much more vast than that, but God shows up in different forms, and God shows up in us. Therefore, we are a part of God, and being a part of God, we are God, right? God gives us the ability to create, the ability to manifest, to envision something and make it come forth, to picture a house and create it, to build cars, and just do things that started as an idea, just started as a vision, right? So recognizing that God is this larger than life concept, being. I think that sometimes we miss that God speaks to us through our higher self, because our higher self is God, right? God is love. And Our higher self is another form of um, love on another level. You know, if you've ever heard the term your higher self, it's like the best version of you, the version of you that knows right from wrong. It's the version of you that when you're about to do something wrong or you're doing something you know you shouldn't, that's the version of you that's like, you know, you shouldn't be doing that. That's your higher self, right? That's God. That's love. That discipline is love, right? So learning to hear God and recognize when God is speaking to us is learning to listen to ourselves. So, like, for example, me with my healing journey, the things that's been going on with my body, that is directly a message. Like, that's God saying, hey, you need to change what you're doing, or there are going to be consequences, right? A lot of us are hard headed, addicted, have habits, bad habits, and we ignore it, right? If you've ever heard that saying, like, you know, if you don't take care of yourself, God will sit you down. You know, you ever got so sick, a cold or flu or fever or anything, just so sick where you literally have to sit down. Like you can't go to work, you can't do anything. Like, and you were gonna go. You're gonna go run around and do everything you need to do until it got so bad where it put you in a hospital or it got you in a bed and you can't move. It's like God will sit you down, right? So that you can take care of yourself, because we are meant to take care of our temples, right? And it's like, that's one way God speaks to us. God speaks to us through our higher self. God speaks to us through our inner voice. Our inner voice is God. You know what I mean? God speaks to us through people. God sends messages through people all the time. And sometimes some people know that it's a message from God, but there are times where people are speaking to you and they have no idea that God is speaking through them. And I love when that happens. I've literally had that happen to me so many times. I've left a relationship like that before. Like I had been praying to God, like, God, show me, tell me, like guide me, let me know what I'm supposed to be doing, if this relationship is for me, if there's something more that I need, if this relationship is of the highest love, if it's in my best interest. And God just will reveal things to me. I don't even have to look, but it's like information will fall in my lap and I'm like, okay, because I'm hard headed. I'm like, okay, so are you telling me to leave? Or what you telling me to do? Like, are you sure? And God is like, she's so hard headed, huh? Here goes some more information. And it's like, you know, things will just fall into my lap where it's like, okay, you need to go. And then when God tells us that we need to go move our feet and we need to remove ourselves from certain situations or environments, trust and believe that is a warning, because it will get worse. Right? That is God's form of protection by guiding us, allowing us to see people or situations for what they are and who they are, so that we can remove ourselves. That is a form of protection, a form of love, and we ignore it. Right? And again, if you're listening to yourself, listening to God, then you know that it's not a situation you're supposed to be in, because you're probably not happy. You're probably in a toxic situation. You might be being abused. You might be dealing with disrespect, or just lack of boundaries, or everything in between or worse, right? And I also realized that in this particular relationship, I remember a friend of mine called me, and I hadn't spoken to her in years. She called me and she was telling me how she left her relationship. And I was paranoid, because I'm like, you know, sometimes we get so caught up in a situation where we forget how powerful God is, and we don't know how, like, to do anything, how to move. It's like we've forgotten who we are. And it's like you're so stuck in a situation that you literally don't know how to leave. It's a scary place to be. But I remember praying and asking God how to leave. And I remember my friend calling me. She did not know what I was going through. And she told me her story. She told me what she was going through. And she literally told me, I left. I just left with nothing. And I left to save my life. And the way she told her story, it was so powerful because she did not know I had just prayed and said, God, how do I leave? And when she called me and spoke and told me her story, it was a message directly from God telling me, just leave, right? The definition of taking a leap of faith, right? Stepping out on faith and trusting God. And I did. And let me tell you, I am so grateful that I did. I am so grateful because I already know it would have gotten worse. And not only that, but sometimes God speaks to us in much more subtle ways. Sometimes you can be praying about something or asking for clarity, or you could even just be feeling down, looking for some sort of hope. And you might see a butterfly, like I said in my previous video, or you might see a rainbow. Rainbows are always a message or a reminder of God's promise. So when you see it, it's like God has promised you, you are worthy. You have so much in this life that you're supposed to experience. And it's like we forget these things. And again, God speaks to us in so many ways. As long as we learn to sit still enough and be quiet enough to recognize it. Sometimes that's because we're not present. We don't know how to be present. Being present every day, not just going through the motions, being grateful, being filled with the spirit of gratitude and everything that you do, actually being in the moment. Like sometimes we're in places, but we're on our phone. We're like mindlessly scrolling on our phone, or we don't remember. Sometimes you drive home and you get home and you're like, how did I get home? It's like you're on autopilot. Like you're not present in anything. You don't notice the trees anymore. You don't notice the sky anymore. You're not aware of anything around you anymore. And it's like when we start to become that level of disconnected from nature, disconnected from ourselves, we miss the messages. We miss our inner voice. We don't recognize when we're uncomfortable or when we've outgrown a situation. And so I say all this to say that the best way to learn to hear and recognize God's voice is by being present, sitting still, meditating, connecting with nature, connecting with your inner self, your higher self, learning to listen to your body, okay? Your body is always talking to you, just like a car, right? You get a headache, you go, oh, let me take a pill because I got a headache. Okay, fine. I'm not going to tell you not to take no pill for a headache, but what I am going to tell you is your body is like a car. That is a sensor going off. Did you drink enough water? Are you hydrated? Maybe you need to drink fruit juice. And I don't mean sugar down fruit juice. I mean fresh squeezed fruit juice. Maybe you need to eat some fruit because you can hydrate more off of certain fruits than you can water. Are you eating properly? You know, maybe there's something else going on in the body. Maybe your body needs to detox. Are you having certain pains in your body? Again, we want to shut the pain up with a pill, but that pain is letting you know, pay attention here. If you just left the gym, maybe that's the reason. But if you didn't just leave the gym and you're having a specific pain, a pain that comes consistently, right? Or a pain that comes at certain times after you eat certain meals, or after you do certain activities, or maybe you work in certain environments or around certain things. Maybe you use certain chemicals or body products and you get a headache or you get a pain or you get a feeling somewhere. Learn to listen to your body. That is God speaking to you, okay? Saying, pay attention right here. God is the creator, right? So God created our temple and created a divine temple at that, a temple so divine that it lets you know when there's something wrong. But we are so hard-headed and stubborn that we ignore our headaches and just shut it up with a pill. We ignore our high blood pressure, and instead of changing our diet, we get on a pill. We ignore our insulin levels getting out of whack and having diabetes, and instead of changing our diet, or looking for a way to reverse or heal this issue, we resort to a pill. What I'm saying is our bodies are magnificent, and if we learn to pay attention to ourselves, how we're feeling, what's going on physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, what's going on around us, how our environment is making us feel, we can learn to better hear God and recognize when God is speaking to us, because God is constantly speaking, and you can feel it. You can feel it. It's like, oh, I don't know, I'm just in a mood every time I come in this environment, and it's like, that's God telling you you're not supposed to be there no more. Or it's something about this space, this energy that you've outgrown, or it's like, every time I come home, I don't want to be here no more. And it's like, what's going on? Is there a disconnect? Is there something that you need to do to work on? Or is this an environment that's not safe for you, or an environment that's toxic for you? Or it's like, I just got this pain, or my skin is breaking out real bad. I got this. And it's like, okay, well, what are you eating? What are you eating? What you putting in your body? You know what I mean? So I told somebody this recently, and somebody I know really close to me, they have to take certain medicine to maintain their body, to maintain their blood pressure and these things like that. I actually know a few people, and it happens to most of us, right? It happens as a result of. So most of us are not born this way. These are things that happen along the way. And it's like, if you think about it and do the math, if you take the pill, your blood pressure is not changed, or your blood sugar is not changed, or any other issue you have going on has not changed. This pill is tricking your body into reacting a certain way. Chemically, it tricks your body into reacting or behaving in a certain way to make your body think that the blood pressure isn't high. But the reality is, you're still putting the things in your body that got you to that place in the first place. So it's like, eventually, how that turns out is that shows up as a stroke or a heart attack, or that shows up as a coma, or having to remove a leg or a body part, or vision loss, or it manifests in many other ways, right? Women with us, like a lot of certain products affect our hormones differently than they do men. They show up differently in men than they do us, right? And our bodies are much more sensitive to any kind of endocrine disruptor. Endocrine disruptor is fragrances, soy products, a lot of products that we put on our hair and on our skin. Okay, we like to smell good, and we like these things. Using aluminum deodorant, right? This aluminum deodorant, we are meant to, again, God created this temple perfect. We are perfect. And we put this deodorant on because we don't want to sweat. And if your deodorant says antiperspirant, then it's preventing you from perspiring, and you're supposed to perspire. You're supposed to release. These are glands under here, right? So we have toxins that build up in our body, and we have glands throughout our body. Our body is supposed to release toxins from those glands. And so if you put an antiperspirant on, you're preventing yourself from releasing the toxins. And not only that, you clogging it up. So a lot of people go, oh, well, I don't want to smell away. But normally deodorant is what's going to make that smell build over time, because now you got toxins built up in your glands and they're not releasing. And later on, a lot of times that manifests as breast cancer, right? That's why breast cancer normally starts up here in the armpit. You see it come down and you see it grow and things like that. And so we have to be very careful not to be so stubborn and ignore ourselves, ignore the voice of God so much that we harm ourselves, so much that we try to do a quick fix when our body is talking to us, when God is talking to us, telling us to remove ourselves from certain environments, telling us to let go of certain foods and certain behaviors and habits. And we continue to partake until our detriment. And I'm not going to sit here and act like it's easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to break a habit. It's not easy to let go of people, places, or things that you are accustomed to. But the reality is, if it's not serving you, if it's not serving your best interest, and God is speaking to you and trying to tell you to release it and let it go, then what are we doing? Right? And again, we are so stubborn and so hard headed. We like to hold on for dear life to the things that we love. We rather silence the pain and ignore the pain and the problems and the symptoms with a pill instead of changing the habit. You hadn't fixed the issue because you're taking that pill. Okay? Just know and believe that issue has not gone anywhere. You just put a Band-Aid over. It's like your car making some noise and you driving and you go, I don't want to go to the car shop. So you turn the music up. That car is still making that sound. Your brakes still squeaking. It's still thumping going on under the hood. But you turned the music up so loud that you can't hear it. That's what those pills are doing, right? And again, I'm not here to tell somebody not to take a pill, because it is a process. If you are on pills, it is a process to wean yourself off of pills. It's a process to detox and heal the body, but it is something that you can do. Right? You have to learn to get to the root of the problem. So whenever we're uncomfortable and whenever we're in these situations and we've outgrown them, or our body is going through changes, trust and believe that is God speaking. That is always God speaking. And if you struggle beyond that, you can just speak to God. You can speak. You can say, hey, I need guidance. I need direction. Can you please give me a sign that you're here? Can you please show me the way? Can you please guide me? Show me if this relationship is for me. Show me if this is a situation that I'm supposed to be in. And am I still supposed to be at this job? Am I still supposed to be living in this area? Am I still supposed to be friends with these people? Am I still supposed to be eating this food? God, are you telling me to let go of this food that I love? God, are you telling me I can't put on my smell good the way I like to put on my smell good? God, are you telling me to release things that I love? So ask these questions. Talk to God. Talk to yourself. Meditate, pray, sit in silence, and you will receive your answer. You will receive signs. You could literally pray, and right after praying, you might see a butterfly fly by. Look up the spiritual meaning of a butterfly. You might have a conversation or something might happen, and you might look at your phone and see a number. You might see 1111. You might see 1212. You might see 333. You might see 1234. You might see a number that has no kind of, repeating, like 1111, repeating numbers. It might be a number, like I said, 1234, but it might be something like 127, I don't know, 144. You could see a number, but you keep seeing that number. And you're like, why I keep seeing this number? You can literally Google spiritual meaning or meaning of this angel number, right? Because our angels are always around guiding us. Our ancestors are always around guiding us. They are always speaking to us the same way God is always speaking to us. So it's like you can look up the meaning of that number, and more than likely, if there's something you're going through, something you're seeking, a question that you've been asking, something that you're battling, confirmation that you're looking for, a lot of times if you look up that number or that animal, you might see a rabbit. Look up the spiritual meaning of a rabbit, and sometimes you'll see several pages or articles. Read the little summary on the outside and choose which one calls to you, because you might read one and you're like, but you read the next one, you're like, oh my God, I was just praying about that, or I was just asking about that, right? So then read that article. The thing is, we have to learn to connect spiritually again, learn to see the signs that are around us, right? Like For God to create the rainbow and say that this is a reminder of my promise, it means that God made promises and signs in everything, in nature. So paying attention to nature, paying attention to ourselves is important, right? If a rainbow is significant, then the butterfly is significant, then the stars are significant, the sun and the moon are significant. Pay attention to these things and these moments and these synchronicities, right? And as you do, the more frequently you do, the more you'll start to recognize the pattern. And the more you'll start to recognize, like, oh my God, that's confirmation. Oh my God, I looked up the meaning of this bird I saw, and this bird meant whatever, had a beautiful meaning, and it confirms what I've just gone through, or what I've been feeling, or what I've been praying, asking God for clarity on. So I'm just saying, if we sit still, family, we can recognize that God is always talking if we're listening. That's really all I wanted to come and share today, family. I hope that that helped somebody. I am so grateful to be here and to be able to share these types of things that have helped me on my spiritual journey, on my healing journey. Because, like I said, God has given me so many signs from the beginning, from the time that I was pouring out blood and the doctors don't know what to do and I don't know what to do. And then this young lady done lost her life going through the same thing. And I'm just like, feeling defeated and but God kept sending me signs like, no, you're going to be okay. If you're obedient, you are going to be okay. If you're listening, if you're listening to your body, if you're listening to me, listening to your higher self, listening to God, you will be okay. And I had faith and I was obedient to the things that I needed to do for my body, and my body is healing itself. If you hadn't already seen my previous videos, then you know that I had been bleeding since January. My bleeding has stopped. And I am being very consistent about my environment, protecting my space spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. I am eating raw 3 days of the week, eating cooked foods one day. I might start to change that and add more cooked food days. I don't know. But I am taking a lot of herbs and I'm being consistent. I am giving myself more time to rest, more time to sleep, more time to take care of my needs, right? I'm a mom as well. So children take up a bulk of your time and your energy. So I have been being patient with myself. I don't shame myself if I fall short, if I make a mistake. I don't, a lot of times I feel bad, but I am patient with myself and you just take it one day at a time, right? We're all learning. We're all in this together. And if you want to do better and you strive towards that, you will do better. Just take it one day at a time. And if you fall short, just get back up the next day and keep going, you know? So I'm here to say, guys, again, God is always talking if you're listening. And I am so grateful that you all tuned in and decided to check out this video. And I look forward to seeing you guys here next time. Bye.